Anyway, listen, there are certain things I'm going to tell every single person. So if we do this together right in the beginning, it's just going to go a lot faster. Some of this information you must know sort of how we operate by the rules here. And I think this is even more important, probably the most important thing about this whole weight loss is kind of what you need to do to lose weight. I'm going to start with medicines. So I tell everybody that a medicine is not necessary to lose weight. They're based on principles way back when you were told, and we were all told, we're eating too much. So the diet pills make you not hungry. That's what they're going to do, make you not hungry. And it's not the quantity of what we're eating, it's really the quality. And by the time we finish here, I can show you eat more and lose weight, eat a lot less and gain weight. So keep in mind if you choose a diet pill. The second question I'm going to ask you guys when I meet with you, do you want to use a diet pill? And we're going to go through them. So, everybody just watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to download this handout that I gave you guys, which is going to sort of follow the outline of this talk. First thing, 6 medicines you can use for weight loss. Go to page 2, number 6. The amphetamines, the stimulant medicines used for weight loss. Now these are the ones everybody knows about. They've been around 60 years. Based on a principle, quit eating so much. It's your problem. You got a character flaw. Go figure it out. Take a medicine. Quit eating so much. Come back. Be normal. And that's very, very wrong. Because now we know when we get overweight, hormones in our body are messed up. And it's really the hormones that are making us fatter and fatter. So we got really disease. And that was recognized in 2013 when this weight management obesity was actually put into the book of diseases because we have hormones messed up. And we need to deal with that. So this is a disease in 2013, but for all the people with insurance in the whole country, less than 10% of insured people will have medical coverage for this disease. And it's the one disease that's not covered. It's just kind of weird. Let's go through these medicines. Now, most people in our country use the amphetamine or stimulants because, one, they know about them. They've been around 60 years. Maybe you use them with a little bit of success. They are designed to make you not hungry. And I'll just tell you right now, when I review the charts of all the medicines and people doing all the different strategies, probably the least effective are these medicines. You lose a little bit of weight for a couple of months and just gain it all back. I mean, you're just doing nothing but you're just blaming yourself for a problem that's not even your problem. I mean, it's not a self-induced problem, it's a cultural problem. These medicines have known addiction and known abuse potential. We're talking about Adipex is known as phentermine, and Bontrol is known as phendimetrazine, and there's a bunch of these, and they send a chemical to your brain to make you not hungry. But the chemical can make your heart race, make your blood pressure go up. This whole class of medicines can cause heart attack and strokes. When you take it, often people don't sleep, and not sleeping makes you gain weight. So here we go. Now people use these because we're familiar with them, and they're cheaper because things aren't covered by your insurance. They're $15 a month. Anybody now using these medicines because of the addiction potential and the drug crisis, the addiction problem we're having from all the opiates, anybody using the stimulant medicines for weight loss, you're now only allowed to use them for 6 months during any 12-month period. And that's an Alabama law that's kind of generous. Most states in the country will tell you, you can only use these type of stimulants for 3 months only, because that's when they were put out 6 years ago. They were intended to be used for 3 months. They make you not hungry for 3 months. Your body gets used to them. Alabama has been a little bit more generous and more, I guess, a patient advocate, saying, well, if you can use these for 6 months, but we got to take a break. Most states, 3 months. I don't care if you lose weight, you can't take it for another year. But Alabama has said 6 months. But now with the addiction thing and sort of rethinking this, here's the new issue. If you're going to take any of the stimulants for weight loss, you must lose in the first 3 months 5% of your body weight. So if you're 200 pounds, you got to lose 10 pounds in 3 months. That's pretty reasonable. Or we got to not fill the medicine. We do the same thing if it was your blood pressure medicine. If it wasn't working, we'd change your medicine. So just be aware you're going to be accountable for having to respond. Now let's say in Alabama, most states will say 3 months, that's it. If you've lost 5% of your body weight, and in Alabama you want to continue, you may continue it for up to 6 months, but each time you come in, you must lose, because if it's losing its effectiveness, we don't need to put you on something causing a heart attack and stroke and all that stuff. Is that cool? Is that good? All right, go to page 1. Number 1, the medicine listed on page 1, there is a medicine in diabetes called Victoza. Came out years ago. It's an injection once a day. The diabetics started doing. They had a very significant weight loss. This was studied, and now this medicine is now FDA approved for weight loss under a different name, Saxenda. By far, this is my favorite, in my opinion, my favorite medicine to prescribe for weight loss because it is so much more effective. It's actually dealing with the disease. It's going to make you not hungry like the other medicine, but it's dealing with the disease and these hormones. And I think you probably triple your result in weight loss, and this has so many more implications, and it reduces heart attack and stroke risk. Instead of causing it, the problem is $1,000 a month. And like I said, if your insurance, like even great insurance, less than 10% will have a medical coverage, you're only going to pay $1,000 a month for this, but if your insurance covers it, you get like a 3-month supply for $25. It is so much more effective than the other medicines. And one reason I'm sort of giving you a heads up on it, the whole class of this medicine, GLP-1 therapy, the Victoza, Saxenda, should be generic by the first of the year. It should be a generic product, and we're hoping the price will fall affordable. I know for a fact it'll be generic, but I'm not sure what the price will be, but I want to keep your eye on this medicine as a medicine you may not know about. I'll explain to you how it works. Let's go back to the list. Number 3, 4, and 5. There's new diet pills, Belviq, Contrave, and Glycemia. They're listed there with some common side effects. Now we have new diet pills. Now why do we have new diet pills? We have an old diet pill. Well, these are considered safer. Belviq, Contrave, and Glycemia. Now it's odd because they're just going to make you not hungry, and they were recently released 4 to 6 years ago. So why do we have these diet pills making us not hungry when in 2013 we realized that's not even the problem? It's not we're eating too much. So why do we have new medicines to make us not eat so much? Well, these medicines launched at the beginning of the research way back before the discovery of this disease. So when they were launched, they're really kind of outdated in some sense. But here's where they are. They are safer. They'll help you not be hungry. But because of that, when people respond to weight loss, we have hormones messed up. You need time for these hormones to kind of settle in your body, and you respond to the Belviq, Contrave, or Glycemia. You can stay on them longer to maintain this weight loss in a very necessary place. Because you probably know this, you lose weight, and it all comes back on, all comes back on. That's what we'll talk about. It's kind of the fat repair. Our body doesn't want us to lose weight. Our genetic coding is to always gain weight, gain weight, gain weight. And losing weight, your body thinks something's wrong with you, and it's ready to put it all back on. Okay, the new diet pills, some of these are also controlled, not as sort of in the severe addiction and abuse as the old stimulant medicines, but they're new and we have to watch those as well. Again, you respond to these, you may take them longer, that's the advantage, they're safer. Problem, they're $300 a month. Now with a coupon, each provide you pay $100 a month for the new medicines to make you not hungry. So we're putting all this in perspective here. We got a medicine I would wish I could give everybody $1,000. Some of the new safer stuff, $300, $100. And what do people do? They go back to what you can afford, $15, because insurance companies are not legitimately covering what they should be covering this disease like any other disease, which accounts for about a third of the entire health costs of the whole conglomerate of all the medicines, all the money we spend in health in the health industry. Okay, let's talk about Xenical, number 2 on the list. Xenical is a fat blocker that came out in 1999. First, it's based on the principle that you should be eating less fat. Now, I would just encourage everybody here to Google this, because I'm not going to explain it all to you. Just Google, if you want to get a little history and get frustrated, low-fat scandal. Because we were misinformed on purpose back in the 60s that we should quit eating fat, and we knew all along we should quit eating sugar. So first of all, based on that sort of misinformation, the low-fat diet, here comes the fat blocker. Now, Xenical was launched in 1999, highly anticipated, but there was so much diarrhea, no one could take this medicine. It just really upsets your stomach, and you have the type, not the kind of diarrhea you don't make it to the toilet, run down your leg kind of stuff. No one could take it. They knew that. They couldn't sell it. Years later, they cut the dose in half, and they sold that drug to Walmart. It's called Ally. So if you're going to use Xenical, I would recommend you do not need me to write it. You would get it at the half dose, because even at half dose, a fat blocker can cause a lot of GI upset. So here we go, 6 medicines to make you lose weight. Most based on the principles to quit eating so much, and it's not the quantity, it's the quality. And I'm going to do a whole separate video on just the medicines and the side effects, but that's what you get to choose from. You don't need a medicine to lose weight. You need to get in your head, what am I doing wrong? What are we all doing wrong? What can I do? Not a diet, but something from here on to lose weight, because we got a huge epidemic of obesity and weight problems in our country based on something that should have been stalled back in 1960. Okay, here we go. Next part here. Next page. We're going to talk about when we get overweight, hormones that are messed up. It should be on page 3 here. All right, here we go. Anything we eat is one of 3 macros. It's either a fat or a protein or a carb. Carb and sugar are the same word. Everybody good with that? Fat, protein, carb, and sugar, the same word. Our adult bodies, men and women, our body requires 20 grams of carbs per day. Our culture eats 1,000 grams of carbs per day. That's pretty insane. Now, after we're born and just growing up, we're all gaining weight sort of slow and steady. Now, this is when the weight gain is calorie dependent. It's sort of the quantity matters. And you know, when we're eating too much, it's actually kind of a slow weight gain. It's a little bit more every year. Now, let's say after puberty, for example, we probably gain the exact same amount every year, and it's a little bit slow. We're eating too much calories. It's calorie dependent and calories, and it's slow. We buy new clothes, but here's when it's going to change. We're going to get some belly fat. You know, we're going to get men get belly fat genetically, hormonally before women. We all going to get some belly fat. And just draw a circle around belly fat, because belly fat is the new organ in our body we didn't learn about in science class, because belly fat is very hormonally active, hormonally manipulative. And when we get belly fat, several hormones in our body are messed up across many disease lines. But we're going to talk just about weight now, just the weight. There's other hormones regarding breast cancer, and there's hormones regarding fibromyalgia. Let's talk about just the weight hormones. 5 hormones in our body are messed up when we get belly fat. So once you get belly fat, the weight is not going to be so much calorie dependent, it's going to be hormone dependent. This is pretty much recognized by the time of 2013 and why this is now a disease. Look, insulin goes up when we get belly fat. Just Google it. Insulin goes up. So let me explain insulin to you. Insulin is what we call an anabolic steroid-like hormone that comes from our pancreas, and we only release it when there's sugar in the blood. So if we eat a fat, we don't make any insulin, guys. If we eat a protein, no insulin. For the biochemists watching this, I know you make some insulin with protein, but for this discussion, fat and protein, no insulin. You get 1 sugar in your blood any time in our life from any source, piece of candy, piece of fruit, 1 sugar. Our pancreas makes 1 steroid insulin to attach to it to move the sugar to a cell. 1 sugar, 1 steroid insulin. That's how God made us. Until we get belly fat, and then we get the 1 sugar, now we get 2 insulins. So insulin, this extra insulin, is going to do its job. It's going to take what you're eating and cause more belly fat. As our belly gets fatter, we get 3 insulins. And it takes a little bit of time for the belly to get fatter, so we go to 4 insulins, and it goes up the insulin hill, and it eventually becomes the 1 sugar we used to eat, and around 8 steroid insulins. We call it type 2 diabetes. That's when our A1C goes up. So we may not be overeating, not overeating at all, but we're over-secreting, making too much insulin. Let me tell you why we have insulin in our body. All animals do, 1 sugar and 1 steroid insulin to push the sugar into a cell so we're fed. Before humans were here, some animals had to hibernate, sleep all winter, so they have to get fat pretty fast in the summertime. And these big old animals are big, but they don't have much belly fat until the beginning of summer. There's fruit on the tree, and they eat the fruit, they put sugar in their blood, and the sugar causes that animal to get belly fat, and the belly fat told the pancreas, make more insulin, make more insulin, make more insulin, so they can eat the same fruit every day and make all this insulin, and in 3 months get massive belly fat. So really Google it. The survival hormone for an animal who hibernates is the extra insulin. We, humans, were never supposed to have belly fat. We didn't have the abundance of food. We didn't have the man-made sugars that are producing the belly fat. We were never supposed to have 1 sugar and 1 insulin. And I'll show you and prove that to you in just a little while when we talk about the sugar absorption. So we're going to do what's called an American weight gain. We're going to get rid of our insulin. And if we get rid of our insulin, then we got to get rid of our carbs. And there is your diet right there. And we'll get into that a little more. Let me tell you about some other hormones. I should with women here talk to you about leptin. You can Google leptin resistance. But I want to tell you, and that'll be another video, all the hormones. But let me tell you about this one, GLP-1, glucagon-like peptide 1. It's at the bottom of the page there. GLP-1 is a hormone that we make in our bodies our whole life. It goes to our brain when we're eating to make us feel satisfied. We have what we call satiety hormones, leptin, GLP-1. Now, when we are eating and we stop eating, we stop for 2 reasons. What we put in our stomach stretches, and that creates a fullness, and our brain says, we've got enough. But have you ever been stuffed and full, but you gotta have 1 more bite of something? You're not satisfied. That's this hormone right here. It ain't there because it drops when we get belly fat. It makes us even eat over the override of a stretched stomach. You know, the whole bariatric surgery is based on making a smaller pouch and stretching sooner. Okay, so GLP-1 drops when we get belly fat, so we eat more to get satisfied, and when it drops, this is more important, it makes our stomach empty too fast. Our stomach's a storage pouch. We don't get fed there, it goes into our intestines. So empties too fast, empty stomach triggers one of the strongest hunger hormones, ghrelin. Ghrelin is what we call it. Makes your stomach growl, comes from your stomach, we laugh, we can hear it, and in about 15 seconds you're gonna be hitting some food because that is the hunger hormone. And diabetics used it first, and it's called Victoza, or Byetta was the first one. GLP-1 juice. Now, GLP-1 juice. Diabetics started using this medicine for the disease of diabetes, and the way it treats diabetes is exactly how it's going to make you lose weight. So I want you to get this. And I'm not connected commercially to any product I mentioned here. And if this stuff was just be cheap or generic or free, this is what I would want everybody to at least to use or know about for weight loss. Now here's how it works for diabetes, and I'm going to show you and sort of merge that with how it works for weight loss. Okay? 1 sugar and 1 steroid insulin is normal. That's our whole life. That's when we're gaining weight slow, too many calories, until we get belly fat. And because of the hormones in the fat, it raises up our insulin level. And for the biochemists, it's a sensitivity to the receptor, but I'm explaining it where people can understand it. Hormones in fat raise up your insulin to 2. That's all of a sudden gonna make you fatter as you eat the same thing. So you go to 3 and you go up the insulin hill. Now let's talk about the insulin hill. All right? Diabetes. As you get to 8, it's diabetes. When I was in med school in 1989, diabetes was 2% in our country. It's currently 10%. 50% of our country is at the 6th insulin level, and we're approaching 20% diabetes as we go up the insulin hill. Obesity in Alabama, when I was in Mexico, was 12%. One country, alarming rate of 15% back in 1989. We were currently at 36%, headed up. West Virginia, 38%. The insulin hill is the diabetic hill and the obesity hill, and if I have time to show you, the cancer hill. We'll get there. A low insulin is low carb diet. Here's why the diabetics use it. One sugar and one insulin is normal. Until you get belly fat, and the hormones and the fat raise your insulin to 2 as the first step to diabetes. The hormones that sort of raise the insulin are blocked by this stuff. So diabetics are on this insulin hill. 76% of our country is overweight. That's a BMI over 25, overweight. And if you're overweight, you got belly fat, you're on the insulin hill, you may be at 2 or 3, it makes a difference. You're eating what you used to eat, getting fatter. Diabetics are on the same hill, up the hill further. They do an injection once a day to lower insulin resistance, mild, moderate, severe insulin resistance diabetes. And we've traditionally recognized that, oh, we should treat it up here, we should treat it down here because it's contributing to every disease we probably have in this country. And these diabetics do an injection once a day to lower insulin resistance. It's like come down the insulin hill. There's a precipitous weight loss right here. 5 hormones are messed up. This actually affects directly and indirectly 3 of the hormones. It's like doing a medicine, your hormones get back to normal, and you start losing weight just doing the medicine. Now, that's why diabetics got on it. It does not lower your blood sugar. This is not insulin, and does not lower your blood sugar. This is GLP-1 agonist. GLP-1 juice is what I call it. Doesn't lower your blood sugar. People ask me, if I use that medicine, am I going to be a diabetic? This will lower your chance of being a diabetic. People on this medicine now, that study called the LEAD 3 study, people on this medicine for a while have lower heart attack and stroke risk later in life, right? It's safer. Now, when the diabetics got on this medicine, this molecule actually goes to your brain and makes you feel satisfied. You hadn't eaten anything, and you don't want anything to eat. It's the opposite. You got to keep eating. Now you hadn't eaten anything, and you don't want to eat it all, and it causes satiety even though there's nothing in your stomach. And eventually, these other hormones like ghrelin are going to kick in. You're going to be like so hungry, and your stomach's growling, and you go eat, and you get all this food, and you eat so little of it because you get full right away. So when this medicine came out for the first use of diabetes, it's very apparent there was a significant weight loss, and now it's approved for weight loss under a different name. And I'm not connected to the company that makes this, I'm connected to the medicine here and the effectiveness, and it's going to be coming out as a generic by the end of the year. You need to know about it. The only medicine on the board making you lose weight doing the medicine, personally the only thing I would take for weight loss or give to my kids or my family members for weight loss, the only one dealing with the disease. Because we've been told way too long it's our fault, because it's not our fault. We're doing what our culture has taught us to do, eating 1,000 carbs a day, and Google the low-fat scandal. That was misinformation that should have been stopped way back when. Okay, let's go back to the next part. I'm going to teach you.
That's the $1,400 a month.
Well, that's around about, probably with coupons and all that, somewhere between $800 and $1,000 a month. But I'm not suggesting anybody pay that, but I am suggesting to keep your eye on it when it's affordable, or if your insurance would cover it now. I mean, I'm not somebody that would like to write a lot of expensive medicines just because you have insurance, but it's the one time that I would say, look, this is on the board. If they'll cover it right now for you to use until it can get cheaper. I believe all new medicines for weight loss are going to deal with the disease, the hormones, the leptins, the GLP-1s, the insulin levels. All the new medicines are going to quit telling you you're eating too much, because we're supposed to eat. We are supposed to eat, and I'm going to show you this. So I want to teach you a little bit about eating carbs, and this is what I'm talking about. All right? Now, there's also something that people watching on YouTube could upload, and I'll give you guys in a minute. It's an itemized nutrition chart that I just print off the internet every day. It's A, B, C, D. You can look at what you eat, how many carbs you're going to eat, because I'm going to try to keep you guys under 40 carbs a day. All right? 40 carbs a day. Let's stop here a second. Women in the room, if you are an adult woman in this country and you are normal weight, your weight gain would be calorie dependent. Your hormones are normal. And you're a normal adult woman in this country, you can eat around 2,000 calories a day. Of course, that depends with genetics and your physical activity and your muscle mass, but just say 2,000. So I'm going to start women around 1,200 calories, 1,000. Don't go too low. You got to have fuel for your motor. Now, guys get more calories, 3,000 calories or more. Why? Because guys have more muscle. So I start guys around 1,500 calories a day, not go too much lower than that. You gotta have fuel for your motor. So 40 carbs, let's talk about it. A, B, C, D in the book you can look up, just for example, I'll give you 3 numbers in the book. A banana is 30 carbs. A plain bagel is 70 carbs. A white potato is 80 carbs. How can anybody stand under 40 carbs? Now this is the medicine you need to do right here. This is the advice, it's the medicine. And it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. And it may be different what you can modulate and what you can different and what you add and what you subtract. But this is how we're going to learn how to eat low glycemic. We're going to eat carbs, but we ain't going to let it go into our blood. We're going to do some sugar blocking here, all right? For every fiber on your plate, you're going to block a carb going into your blood. For every 3 proteins on your plate, you block a carb going into your blood. The sugar we absorb is called the glycemic load. We're going to learn how to eat low glycemic. Here we go. If I give you a banana, 30 grams of carbs. I want you to not take a diet pill today, eat more, 30 grams of fiber. 30 and 30. It goes in our stomach where it's probably going to stay 30, 45 minutes, and it sort of blends around into a juice. We're not fed. It goes into our small intestine. The sugar comes out of the banana. It's going to stick to the fiber. It's going to go through you, not into you. You just blocked your sugar being absorbed. You get it? Low glycemic. So you're going to learn how to add high dietary vegetables and fiber. Every time you eat, they'll help you lose weight. There's minimal calories. Whatever you're making for dinner, it's going to be different as many people in the room. Google, how do I make it low glycemic? They'll tell you every time you eat, you add these high fiber vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, Brussels sprouts, celery, lettuce, whatever you like. So you can sugar block. You like carb pasta? Carb pasta is so carb dense. Look it up. A small bowl is 50 grams of carbs. All the pasta is made out of vegetables and protein. Angel hair zucchini and taste test is probably the same as the regular pasta spaghetti. You make a substitution. Now you have fiber. You're not gaining weight. Eat your favorite food. You like rice. It is so fattening for different reasons. Try shaved cauliflower. The sugar we absorb is called the glycemic index. That's what I'm trying to keep sugar out of your blood. Now, once it's in your blood, there's also an insulin index. And probably the worst foods that do this, sort of the worst combination of white flour, white potatoes, and white rice, that if you want to lose weight, need to go. And if you can't give it up, admit it, and we'll work around it. You need to do what you can do forever, not what you can do for 3 months and gain your weight back at 20% more, right? So we're eating low glycemic. So I'm going to change your 40 carbs to 40 net carbs. We'll start here, 40 net carbs. Put 100 carbs on your plate, and I'm going to give you 60 fibers. And 100 minus 60 is 40 net carbs. 40 net carbs, that's what's going to your blood. So you're allowed to eat it if you just eat smarter. Like working smarter, not harder. And that's what I'm going to ask you to be aware. Where are my carbs? Okay, you're not going to put corn and carrots and potatoes on your plate at the same time. We do it every day. Insulin, insulin, insulin. You can just pick one and block it. So you're going to learn where your carbs are coming from. Okay, low glycemic eating. So let's just change gears a minute. I'm going to ask everybody without too much detail here. And again, I'll put all these hormones and just a little bit more discussion on low glycemic eating on another YouTube video. This is just an introductory so people, I don't have to do this 8 times a day. Okay, I'm going to recommend that you eat breakfast and stay hydrated to lose weight. There's so many observation studies that tell people the intermittent fastings and the cleansings and all these different plans. And if something is working for you, I'll discuss it with you. But if you have no game here, I recommend that you eat a third of your total daily calories the first meal of the day with breakfast. Stay hydrated. If you're peeing all day, you're losing weight. Let's go back to breakfast. These are evidence-based studies where people put in groups. The breakfast eaters lose weight more in a vertical fashion. The probable cause of that, it just turns your motor on. All right, let's say women, 1,200 calories, 40 net carbs. And actually 400 calories at breakfast. Turn your motor on. Vertical weight loss. People who don't eat breakfast, first couple of weeks you lose weight because you're cutting back on calories, and that does make you lose weight until your metabolism goes, we ain't gonna have this, and it's just gonna get stuck there. So a low carb breakfast could be, now fat and protein, bacon and eggs, for example, an omelet, no time to cook, make a quiche, make a casserole, slice it, microwave. Try eating breakfast. Try eating breakfast in the morning. It's a behavior not many of us do here, a significant breakfast. And the most common complaint I get is, Doc, I had to quit eating that breakfast. I was just so hungry all day, and that's probably evidence proof that it's working because you're just turning all your lights on in the morning and the motor's running and you're burning up more fuel, you need more fuel. Just try eating breakfast. Same with hydration. Let's go back to fat and protein. Now, know this, and I want you to, again, I'm going to repeat it again. Google this whole history of the low-fat scandal. You can find the whole story. Just Google low-fat scandal. Because there's a big surge of diseases in the early 60s, and the government would do what they normally do, go, what is the cause of that? And they get epidemiologists who study it, who find out exactly what the cause was, and it was the sugar and the insulin. We were going up the insulin hill. Everything was sort of low back then, and somebody was paid off to sort of sweep that under the carpet and blame it on the smaller contribution of saturated fats. Fats. Any fat is better than any sugar for weight loss. Put that in your head, period. You're going to live longer if you do your homework, because I'm going to ask you to find out the difference between good and bad fats. The bad fats have trans and saturated fats. They raise up our bad cholesterol and cardiovascular risk, not the good fat. Okay. If you go into this scandal, you're going to find the bad. In the second grade, you get a little triangle in your book in school of nutrition that tells us to eat 50% carb and 30 protein and 20 fat. I believe it will be switched to 50 fat, 30, 20. Our body is designed for fat, not sugar. Do you know we must have fat to live? They're essential fat. We have to have them to live. Fat is the only macro that we eat in our plate that goes to our brain to make us not hungry. We got to get enough of it in to run our body, so we got to eat until we get enough of that, then our hunger is dropped. Fat. It's the only macro that we eat that increases our metabolism. We think it's sugar, it's fat. Best tasting foods on the planet are fat. A lot of calories, you got to watch serving size, and you will live longer if you know the difference between good and bad fats. But know this, when you have a low fat label, they take the fat out and they put sugar in it, and this came back in the 60s, which prompted the drug Xenical and the low fat diets. That has been debunked. You can Google it. We were doing a low carb, not a low fat diet. This is all in payoffs and some manipulations if you want to look how we are manipulated as we sit here. So breakfast, okay? Animal bacon, 30 calories, 0 carbs. I eat 8 pieces every day. Now that's going to probably die from a heart attack because I don't like turkey bacon, but that's healthier because my bacon has saturated fat in it. Eat breakfast, turn your metabolism on. Same with if you're peeing all day long, you're losing weight. I could go through every organ in your body except for the spleen and tell you why. It increases from the renal, from the liver, the fat, metabolism. You're going to pee all day long, and the fluid could be about anything. Flavored water, regular water, coffee, tea, Crystal Light, vitamin water without sugar. Maybe an advantage to green tea because green tea extract is a carb blocker. But you can just pee all day long, and I promise you'll be losing weight. And I'll just say right now, increase your metabolism. So I'm going to encourage those behaviors. And you might be doing something, intermittent fasting or something differently, and if it's working for you, I'm not going to condemn that at all. But I'm going to say if you have no game, try these things that have been evidence-based, been shown to help you lose weight. Okay, we're going to get to the most important part of this, and this is going to be the good carb and bad carb. So I want everybody to get this discussion, because if I never saw you again and you did not do one thing I asked you or pay any attention to, if you'll just do this and recognize this, you're going to lose weight in our country, absolutely for sure. And that is to know the difference between good carb and bad carb. All right. Remember again, the sugar that we get when we eat a piece of candy or a piece of fruit, the sugar in our blood is exactly the same. It's just kind of how it gets there. So when we say good carb, bad carb, we're really talking about insulin. So if we eat a starch or a carb or a sugar, it goes into our stomach, and then it's going to go into our intestines where we're going to be fat. And I believe the reason that our small intestine is as long as it is for this reason right here. I want you to understand this. It's a long tunnel, a long road, small intestine. Starch, carb, or sugar, it goes into our intestines, and it has to ride through that tunnel, that long road, and the sugars have to be processed and made into the simple form of sugar, glucose. And when sugar is in that form of glucose, it jumps in the blood. Simple sugars jump into the blood. The bigger ones, they have to be processed first. They can't jump into the blood. Well, the bad carbs are those sugars already in that form. These are not found in nature. These are man-made. Go back to the late 50s and 60s. We are the ones that made these sugars, process that out of potatoes or rice or the sugar cane, and we put the simple sugars. The bad carbs, they jump into our blood too quickly. We were never supposed to have them, and they're the major contributor to everything that's wrong with what I've been talking about, the bad carbs, okay? Simple sugars, refined sugars, the processed sugars, they're ready to jump in the blood. So let's take, now we know somebody that's not overweight, a 1-year-old child. Let's put some of the sugar not in your coffee. Let's put it in the baby's milk that morning. All right? Baby drinks the milk. As soon as the sugar hits the lip, it jumps into the blood, the tongue. You don't have to swallow it. That sugar gets into the blood all at once. It jumps into the blood. Boom, jumps into the blood. Get sugar all at once. I call it a sugar bomb. That's my word. But a sugar bomb, you got to have an insulin bomb. That's called an insulin spike. Google insulin spike. All right, now remember, insulin is the hormone for that animal's got to sleep for 3 months. We're never supposed to have this kind of big old insulin bomb like this. And so the insulin for the 1-year-old is the hormone's going to make you fat to survive. So it's going, oh, just maybe 3 or 4 seconds. And it's going, oh, we got to get some fat going here. And the 1-year-old baby now gets a blueprint for the fat that's going to be developing in the childhood and adolescent obesity is off the chain. Go back to the bad carbs doing this, the insulin spike. You guys, sugar bomb from a soda. You've been losing weight for a week. Been doing pretty well. You're like accountants. I got to do my 1,200, my 40. You got to bounce that checkbook every day, and we're doing the numbers like they really. That's all that matters. You get a little soda, sugar bomb. The numbers fit that soda, sugar bomb. Here's the 1-year-old insulin bomb, but your insulin bomb spike is up here. Insulin spike. Well, that's the hormones that's gonna make you survive. Only if you get belly fat. So you just got caught losing weight because we ain't supposed to lose weight. And that insulin bomb right there goes, uh-oh. I see a little bit of loss of belly fat. It's going to drive itself not 30 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour. It's going to be the one charge of belly fat. It's going to call the brain, to call the adrenal glands. We're going to get so many hormones in our body, we can't lose a pound now because everything is going to be working against weight loss because we ain't supposed to lose it. And the insulin spike is a signal for that. And we eat them all day long because 1,000 carbs a day that we're eating, carbs, 70% are the bad ones. It should have been stopped in 1960. 70% are the bad ones. The insulin spike, the number one complaint in the doctor's office, doctor, I'm so tired. I kind of get tired of hearing I'm so tired because we're all so tired. And here's why we're tired, I believe. Think about it. The bear in the summertime, he's got to gain all this weight in 3 months. And that insulin's in charge of it. So it puts the sugar in the blood, and that insulin goes way up, and that bear gets this, like we get. Insulin's now probably the second strongest hunger hormone we have. So the bear, and we would, with this insulin spike, gonna make us hungry. We eat a little bite of Snickers or a little sweet for 3 seconds. We get a little release of ATP, battery energy, about 3 seconds. So we get that little buzz. And about the next 30 minutes, you're dealing with this insulin spike. Goes to your brain, make you not hungry. Makes you hungrier. Makes you hungrier. Insulin up here. Hunger hormone. Now, just think about it. The bear that's going to hibernate, it's not going to give you hunger and run a marathon. It's not even give you hunger and go to sleep. It's going to give you hunger and be tired. It's going to be tired because we want you to sit down and just keep on eating so you can get more belly fat because you can be sleeping for 3 months. And that's the direction of that hormone, insulin, that we're getting all day long, all day long. Little boluses, 3 or 4 seconds here, 4 or 5 seconds here, all day long, 70% of our bad carbs. That insulin spike is driving belly fat, hunger, and fatigue. Is the #1 problem we're having in this country related to this epidemic, the bad carbs. So if you recognize where the simple sugars are and you can eliminate those, you can lose weight. And while you're trying to lose weight and all of a sudden I get stuck, I can't lose weight, I guarantee you insulin's contributing to a lot of that slow down plateau that we all reach, because it wants you to. We are genetically designed as humans to gain weight. That's why you get 900 pounds and keep going, and when you lose weight, your body thinks somebody's broken into your house, alarms goes off, and your body starts to resist it, and a lot of that is derived through the elevations of insulin we get from the bad carbs. The good carbs, let's talk about these good carbs. Remember why we have this long intestine. Well, you know, we eat starch, carb, or sugar like fruits and whole grains. Those sugars are all tied together. They can't jump into the blood, and as they ride through that tunnel, maybe one sneaks out, and it jumps through the blood. Our insulin's like 1 or 2, and it rides a few more minutes, and one sneaks out. So in that banana, they don't go 30, they go 1 at a time, because our insulin was never supposed to be up here. And those get tangled up in fiber and protein, because the bad carbs that jump, when I gave you the formula for sugar blocking, they can't be blocked. And they're identified on packages when they say carbon sugar. The sugar, those are jumping. You got to count those in your 40, and the other ones you can block. So I'm trying to give you the fact that we didn't even have access to these bad carbs in the volume and quantity until they were mass produced by an industry of sugar and the lobbyists of people that actually paid academic and government officials to not let us know they were poisoning us way back in 1960. So indirectly, we were sort of manipulated, and why we're here today, it was something that should have been stopped in 1964. Google the low-fat scandal. Recognize the bad carbs. Now here's the thing that you got to know, and you'll find out when you read the scandal. Take all your groceries you just bought, and I've convinced you, let's don't get any sugar now. We're going to lose some weight. We're going to get this belly fat. We're going to get rid of the sugar. So we're going to take all the foods we have sugar in them, because when all this was manipulated, it was so manipulated in the wrong way, they started putting sugar on the outside of our cereals that already have sugar in them, and all the pixie sticks, because the person that was paid off also knew the sugar was poisonous, but had a part of the payoff right in the mommy magazine, feed your kids sugar and they'll be smart like me, the Harvard guy. And that's how sort of we've been manipulated. All your groceries, let's remove everything that has sugar in it. We know it has sugar, we make a decision, okay, we're gonna leave the stuff that has no sugar in it. 70% has sugar in it. Get your turkey in the deli, and they'll packaged up, third line down, corn syrup, fructose syrup, all the syrups. As a chemist, before as a doctor, these are not emulsifiers, purifiers, preservatives. These are literally just put in our food to make us fat and to serve the sugar industry in this country. So if you wanna really be healthy, you're gonna really be your own FBI agent, and you're going to look on the back of everything, and the third line down is syrup, you throw it out, because that is your fat stuff right there. It's just simple sugar absorbed in and making your insulin go up. And even when you're eating the healthy foods, impossible to lose weight. Buy your foods, vegetables that are fresh that you wash and not in the packaged and processed in the middle of the store if you can. It's difficult. But if you will regulate your insulin, that's sort of the main focus of the first topic, then I think we're going to lose some weight. We're going to lose weight. Do you ever just wonder why all the weight's going in my belly? And do you really think you're eating more every year? And do you really think it's a character flaw? Or do you think there's, now, you know, science is catching up and we know hormones and probably a lot more? And I would go through the whole hormone thing from breast cancer and the use of aromatase or tamoxifen or aromatase inhibitors like tamoxifen or letrozole because you have breast cancer because of these hormones here. All this, the disease I never saw before in my life, fibromyalgia in med school, is I see 8 or 9 a day. When where did this come from? The insulin hill is probably the cause. And recently someone suggested this, which I think is pretty smart. And this is something you can think about. That insulin that we get from our whole life, from the bad carbs, from 1 year old, abdominal, childhood obesity, all this stuff that we're dealing with now that we didn't deal with. Somebody recognized, you know, if insulin takes that animal, it has to hibernate. And it has to make it get fat pretty fast. You know, if it doesn't, the animal ain't gonna survive unless it gets on enough food in 3 months to sleep for 3 months. And so that insulin has to be pretty capable. And to go into the fat cells and sort of turn on the DNA signals of that cell so it can grow faster than usual. And if I describe something that sounds like anything, you take medicine, you'll know that it sounds just like cancer. And somebody's connecting the dots between our insulin spikes that we were never supposed to have and the cause, the manipulation associated cause, or at least worsening of every cancer, from breast cancer, colorectal, prostate, all going up the same rate as our diabetic and obesity hill, and now being used and looked at as a possible sort of a treatment for cancer, chemotherapeutics, regulating insulin and sugar and the receptors for that. It's used and very successful use in cancers because of the sugar. Just know this, if we were put on a planet and we had no fat or no protein, we would not live very long. And if we were put on a planet where there was no sugar or carbs at all, we'd probably live about 20% longer. our liver actually makes the 20 grams of carbs we need every day. We were not designed to be the sugar consumers that we are. I think it's been recognized and realized, but the attention now is this epidemic, and we got a lot of them in the country, is driving the largest epidemic with weight management and obesity, approaching where 20% of our country will be type 2 diabetic as we go up the insulin hill. Have you ever wondered why a diabetic loses weight, it goes away? You ain't got no belly fat, you ain't got no hormones making all that sort of insulin resistance, and that's it. So I want you to regulate, watch, and do whatever you can with your carbs. Medicines that make you not hungry are not going to do it. I want to show you an example. The portion dieter, 80% of our people will go, oh, I'm wrong, I'm bad, I've been eating too much, I got to eat less. So that drives us to the portion diet. You know, I'm making an F. I'm eating too much. I'm getting fat, so that's an F. So if I starve myself, that means I'll get an A. Well, that's messed up because we're not supposed to starve ourselves. Portion dieters, let's eat half of what we normally eat. 1,000 carbs, half is 500. You're still getting belly fat. You only need 20, you're eating half what you eat, you get belly fat, you start to lose protein in your face, and everybody, you look in the mirror, and you look like you lost weight, and you look old as heck, and everybody, you walk away, they go, you lost weight, and you look so old. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, that's not the way you know what I'm talking about. You're losing weight and you look old, that's what you're doing. Your belly's getting bigger, you wear a coat, but your face is all old, and you look anyway. Small bowl of macaroni and cheese, 50 grams of carbs, fits in my hand. That's all we're gonna eat, portion dieters. That's all we have for dinner. We ain't eating very much at all. And boom, yep, 50 grams of carbs, and you just got too much insulin. Your belly's growing, and you lost a little weight in your face, and you look in the mirror and look like you lost weight, and you look old. Let's eat it like we're supposed to eat it. Now, we're supposed to eat. We're not designed to starve ourselves. So let's put the macaroni and cheese on a big platter if you want to, and fill it up with broccoli and cauliflower and spinach and Brussels sprouts. You eat 5 times more. Don't take a diet pill for a couple of days, because I want you to eat a lot more. And first of all, when we eat, our stomach stretches. You know it's supposed to stretch. That's why it's in this sort of stretchy place. It stretches. You know, it stretches the vagal nerve. The nerve goes to our stomach, sends out these little pathway signals that will begin the process of metabolism and digestion, even though we're not going to get food in our system for about 30 or 45 minutes. It's like the plane's going to land, and the runway's already lit up way in advance, and the luggage people are already getting over there way in advance, and that's what the vagal stretcher is supposed to stretch. You put all that fiber in there, and now you're not going to be constipated, as that sort of absorbs water, and you're not going to be constipated. Constipation causes weight gain. You ate 5 times more. You ate your macaroni and cheese. You wanted it. You blocked all the sugar going to your blood. You ate like we're supposed to eat. It's called low glycemic. It has nothing to do with eating less, and everything about eating smarter. Make sense? That's what I want you to learn. And this video would not sort of encompass all of what you need to learn. And I'm trying to still learn it, but there's videos and TED Talks and online and resources to learn how to eat low glycemic, to get rid of the bad carbs. If we just get rid of the bad carbs, we would all start dropping weight. That is the fat making, and it's not, you can't balance your checkbook with those numbers. It's incalculable how much hormone influence that has when it's a survival hormone, making us get fatter and fatter. And the last thing, and I'll just put a video on it for anybody interested, fat repair. Hormones are messed up. You know, we gotta lose weight, and you gotta fight, because your body don't want you to. You gotta kind of sneak out of the house and stay not getting caught for a while. And your body's gonna say, it's gonna make you slow down. So remember this, to get to your goal weight is not always forward motion, nor touchdowns. And then you might make a long pass and a lot of yardage, and then you might get set back. You keep your eye on the goal, and if you start losing weight, it ain't over. You gotta just do a new strategy and keep your eye on the goal post. 100 people want to lose weight in our country, 100 people. Only 30 people get there. Now that's sad. That's pretty sad, but here's the saddest part. Out of the 30 that get there, 90% gain their weight right back in about 16 to 20 weeks, because these hormones are messed up, and you lose weight, they're still messed up, and they're gonna fight to make you fat. So there's sort of different theories, like that our body will always try to make us stay at our highest weight. You're 900 pounds, you get to 100 pounds, your body's gonna always shoot to make you 900 pounds. That's a theory, frustrating, disgusting. We'd never be able to even lose weight. I think better evidence is this: about every month it takes you to get your goal weight, you gotta work your butt off and stay there. Equally, we don't scale twice a day if you need to, and stay there an equal amount of time. The new you is here and not here. The new you here, oh, I'm done, you're ready to go out. You smell air and you gain weight. Everything in your body's trying to make you repair, like after a baby or a surgery or mono, everything in your body goes to put this weight back on, because we weren't supposed to lose it. So know the hormones in your body. They will not be ready for you to get too lenient as soon as you reach your goal weight. We need some time to stay there, which is the advantage of the Belvique and the Contrave and the Glycemia, to stay there so to maintain it. But my favorite, again, is the GLP-1 agonist therapy, because the studies show that people were on this for like 3 years didn't gain their weight back. And we don't need 3 years, but we need an equal amount of time here. To me personally, to go from your day weight to your goal weight, I don't think really anybody needs a medicine. We need to know what to do. I might be convinced that after reaching your goal weight, but everybody might need a medicine, because that's when it's the hardest. You know what I'm talking about. And you know what? When you lost 20 pounds, your body's going to make you gain 24. It's going to get you into survival mode, make you get fatter in case you get locked into prison again. So if we know the disease, what is being offered, to go from the 100 of what I'm going to lose weight to the 30, you got to know the what to do. And that's what I'm trying to teach you, the what to do. And it's a culture. So we're not character flawed at all. We're doing exactly what we've been taught to do, and it's very frustrating in the sense that we are bombarded with carbs and the bad carbs, and we need to know where they are and apply that to that. So it's all cool. Then we meet one-on-one. I'll ask you if you want to use the medicine. We try to do everything to help you here. We have to play by the rules. It's all good. It's all good. Guys always lose weight faster than women. More muscle. He does, not me. He does. All right, guys, we'll meet one-on-one. All right, thanks.